We've got a huge rivalry matchup in the ACC as number 3 Miami takes on number 18 Florida State down in Tallahassee. Will the Canes, the U, continue their dominance in the conference and remain one of the best teams in the entire country? Or will Florida State pull off the big-time upset, bouncing back from that heartbreaking loss on the road at Virginia? That's what we're here to break down today. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad you could join us. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, which are some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 6 years, doing so now, and shaping up for another big week here at the channel. So link for that down in the description below, and we'd love for you to take advantage of it and become a member of our GE Nation. So, I want a little backstory first. Miami, Florida State, just a classic rivalry matchup. So many great games between these two programs. Miami leads the all-time series 36-33. Last year, snapped a 3-game losing streak in the series, beating that really bad Florida State team 36-14. Should be noted, though, Miami has not won in Tallahassee since 2019, so a bit of a streak going there. I don't know if we'll ever forgive Florida State for losing to Virginia and not making this a top 10 matchup. It's unfortunate, right? Would love to have seen like number 3, number 5, number 3, number 6, just like we had last week with Penn State and Oregon. But regardless, just because Florida State lost to Virginia, it doesn't mean Miami's a lock to win this game. It doesn't mean the game's lost any of its luster. The stakes are still extremely high. The environment is still going to be absolutely electric, and this is still going to be one heck of a football game. I want to start on offense, and I want to start with Miami. Obviously, statistically, right now, they're not where they were last year with Cam Ward and just that veteran offense as a whole, right? But they're still playing some pretty dang good football, right? They're averaging over 446 yards per game, and what I like the most about Miami is how balanced they've looked, right? 270 passing yards per game, over 176 rushing yards per game. They can beat you both ways. And Carson Beck, he received a lot of flack during his time at Georgia. Then there were questions of, was he going to come back and play well in this Miami offense? Was he going to be healthy enough to perform well in this Miami offense? I think he's been doing just fine. 972 yards, 7 touchdowns on the year. Mark Fletcher at running back has been phenomenal. 388 yards and 5 touchdowns on the season. The freshman wide receiver, Malachi Toney, has been phenomenal. 268 yards and a touchdown already. And the offensive line, I remember back in the preseason talking and praising about how good Miami's offensive line and defensive line were, winning in the trenches at the line of scrimmage. The offensive line's been phenomenal, only giving up 5 sacks in just 4 games. One thing should be noted, Miami's put up very good stats. They have some quality wins, right? They beat Notre Dame back in week 1. They beat a ranked South Florida team at the time. They destroyed Florida. So they haven't really played like a bunch of cupcakes. Obviously, Notre Dame hasn't been what we thought they'd be. Florida, certainly not very good. But they've looked very good. Right? Miami has not left anything up to go, oh, well, they didn't look that great here. A win's a win, but they got a lot to work on, right? They've played really well and have dominated. I know that Notre Dame game was close, but again, that was a good opponent, right? My question for Miami now is, how do they handle their first road game? How does Carson Beck handle his first road game? Miami's been home for all 4 games. Now they're going to a night environment in Tallahassee that's absolutely going to be rocking. How do they handle this crowd? Can they execute as well as they have been down in Miami? And I look at what Florida State did last week against Virginia defensively, which wasn't good. Virginia had 229 passing yards and 211 rushing yards. Miami needs to try to go into this road environment, establish the run. Virginia did very well there, over 200 rushing yards. Get that going, which will set up some much easier throws and some bigger plays from Carson Beck, who, as we know, has faced some very tough environments during his time in the SEC at Georgia. But the question is, can he take care of the football and make good decisions in this environment? That's what we're kind of wanting to watch out for. Florida State, on the other hand, look, everybody's going to view it as the sky's falling. You lose to Virginia. Things aren't good. Oh, my God, what's going to happen? They're going to be just fine, right? This is still the number 1 ranked offense in the entire country. Gus Malzahn has done a great job with this team. Remember how bad Florida State's offense was last year? Everybody knew they were going to improve. I don't know if anybody thought they'd improve this much to be number 1 in the country entering week 6. 600 yards per game. That's what Florida State is averaging right now. They are second in the nation, averaging 336.3 rushing yards per game. That's absolutely ridiculous, especially coming from a team that's not running the triple option or something like that, right? They had 514 yards of offense last week against Virginia, even though they lost. 256 of those yards did come on the ground. They dominated Alabama back in week 1. on the ground, right? You look at Florida State, it was a game that you felt like they should have won. They lost by 8 points in double overtime, but they turned the ball over 3 times. That led to 14 Virginia points. They missed a field goal in there. They turned the ball over on downs at the Virginia 21. Florida State had every opportunity to win that game and just couldn't execute and couldn't get it done. But the offense is still extremely talented, and it starts with Thomas Castellanos, the transfer quarterback from Boston College, the dual-threat transfer quarterback that's played very well, right? 217 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Got to take better care of the football. That was always the concern, was how was he going to look as a passer? 848 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 picks. Had a couple against Virginia last week. 5 players from Florida State have rushed for at least 100 yards, okay? So it's not just Castellanos and having to respect his mobility. It's having to respect not 1, not 2, not 3, but like 4 different running backs that can beat you. Florida State needs to find a way to get that ground game going, but they have to have a contingency plan for Thomas Castellanos to make sure they set him up for success to win the game through the air if Miami shuts it down. If he can't take off and scramble and improvise with his legs, if Miami takes that away and they limit Florida State's rushing abilities, can Castellanos make the right reads, make the right decisions, and win the game solely by passing? That's my biggest concern for Florida State entering Saturday night. We know they can run, but will they have as much success on the ground as they did against Alabama or Virginia? I'm probably going to say no. I think Miami's defense is just that good. So if it starts to get shut down, if Miami contains Castellanos to the pocket, can he deliver? Or will he make mistakes? Will he turn the ball over? Will he just have errant throws? That's what you're looking for Florida State. You need to see him take that next step as a passer. Miami's defense, that's their goal, right? Contain Castellanos. Don't allow him to escape. Make him beat you through the air. Welcome that. That's what I would do. I mean, you get the number 2 rushing attack in the entire country, okay? If I'm Mario Cristobal, if I'm Miami, I'm looking at this game and I'm saying, okay, I got to stop the run. We've got to limit that. I personally don't have that much faith in Thomas Castellanos solely winning a game by himself by passing. I just don't. I just don't do that. And Miami right now is 8th in the nation in stopping the run, allowing to 76.3 rushing yards per game. They have the 13th ranked defense in the nation, giving up just 244 yards per game. Now, granted, this is the best offense Miami has seen. There is no denying that. They played Notre Dame back in week 1. Notre Dame didn't really use Jeremiah Love that much for some reason, and they were facing C.J. Carr in his first career start. They beat USF, who, again, was ranked at the time, but still a group of 5 team. And they beat Florida, who's absolutely garbage. Right now, Florida, they deserve a lot of praise for what they did against Florida, right? They won that game by 19 points. They held Florida to 141 yards, only 61 passing yards, and they held the Gators to 0 for 13 on third down. All right, so that's impressive. I don't care who you're playing. That's an impressive stat line defensively. Miami's got the dogs. They've got the defense to do it, right? But you've got to make sure that against the toughest test you face, against the best offensive minds you faced in Gus Malzahn, that you find a way to make them one-dimensional, and you hope you make them one-dimensional by strictly throwing the ball. Miami's got 10 sacks on the year. Ruben Baines, one of the best defensive players in the entire country. You've got to find a way to get pressure on Castellanos. You've got to find a way to say, beat me through the air, because I don't think he can do it. Florida State, they've clearly got some work to do, right? You're coming off your first loss of the season on the road. You gave up 440 yards of offense to Virginia. The key for you is get after Carson Beck. We have seen him struggle in very difficult road environments. This is certainly going to be one of them. We've seen him struggle in tough environments when he was playing quarterback at Georgia. He has 3 interceptions already on the year. It's not a bad stat line, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. But if you can rattle him early, he's going to make some mistakes. He's been prone to doing that throughout his career. If you can get after him early, rattle him, you're going to be fine defensively. Miami can run the ball. We said at the beginning, Miami can beat you through the air. They can beat you on the ground. Miami's goal is hopefully to go in there and establish the run. But if I'm Florida State, I'm saying I'll let you run on me because you're not going to allow too many huge chunk plays. It's a matter of can we stop Carson Beck. Florida State right now has 10 sacks on the year. They have 6 interceptions on the year. If they can get at least 1 interception off of Carson Beck and capitalize on that interception, meaning actually get it in the end zone, don't settle for 3, get 6. If they can do that, they've got a very good chance to win this game. That's going to be the key, though. Force him into mistakes. Force him to panic a little bit. Rattle him early, not just with your defense, but with your crowd. This is a tough game to pick, right? Because I think a lot of people are going to take recency bias, and you're going to look at Florida State and go, they lost to Virginia. Oh, Miami's got this in the bag, right? And that's just not how it works. Florida State is still a really, really good football team. They're still a very competitive football team. But obviously, you would be crazy to not have some concerns after what you saw against Virginia. Bad defense, bad decision-making by your quarterbacks. 3 turnovers in that game, missed field goal, turnover on downs. Virginia deserved to win that game, but Florida State made so many mistakes that it made it difficult for them to even have a chance to win. Maybe they were fortunate that it was a 8-point double overtime loss and that they didn't lose by double digits in regulation. Ultimately, at the end of the day, guys, what's going to happen? Tallahassee, rivalry game, so much on the line for both of these programs. I'm going Miami here. And maybe I'll come back to regret it. Maybe I will come back to regret it. But I like Miami too much. I look at this. I think they've got the defensive edge over Florida State right now. And I think I can trust Mario Cristobal, ironically, in a big game, trust Mario Cristobal to find a way to shut down that Florida State run game. Miami's coming off a week of rest. They're well rested for this game. Florida State maybe a little hungover after a loss, feeling a little bit more pressure after that loss. Maybe they overlooked Virginia in preparation for Miami, but I like a well-rested Miami team with a veteran quarterback who, if it's like a 2-minute drill, who do I have more faith in leading a drive through the air? Thomas Castellanos or Carson Beck? Ironically, it's Carson Beck. So I think you've got the quarterback edge in Beck from a passing standpoint. I think you got the defensive edge. I think there's going to be a healthy amount of Miami fans there, even though Tallahassee is going to be a crazy tough environment. It's going to be close, but give me Miami to win this game on Saturday night. They will improve to 5-0, and don't look now. It's only 5 games in for them. Nothing's ever a lock, but the schedule is very favorable the rest of the way for Miami. Their toughest games remaining the rest of the way are Louisville at home, on the road at SMU, and on the road at Pittsburgh. I'd say those are the toughest 3 left for Miami. They'll be favored in all of those. I would be surprised if they lost even 2 of those. Maybe 1, sure, but 2, probably not. Meaning Miami is getting closer and closer to really solidifying themselves into the college football playoff, and it's still very, very early. Florida State, they dropped to 3-2. Their hope's certainly not over by any means, but their second conference loss of the year. Going to have to need some help maybe to get to the ACC championship, and maybe going to have to win out to have a shot at the college football playoff. But regardless, should be a classic rivalry matchup Saturday night, but give me the U to get the job done. They take care of business and improve to 5-0. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks. Again, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country. You do not want to miss out on those. A link for that down in the description below. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.